You are exactly where you chose to be right now. In this moment, sitting in that chair, listening to these words, every decision you've made, every action you've taken, every excuse you've accepted has led you here. And if you don't like where you are, you're the only one with the power to change it. Raise your hand if you've ever said, I'm just not a lucky person. Keep it up. Look around. Most of you have your hands raised, and that tells me everything I need to know about why most people never achieve what they really want in life. You see, the moment you decide that luck is something that happens to you instead of something you create, you've given away the most powerful force in the universe, your ability to choose your response to any situation. You've become a victim of circumstances instead of the architect of your destiny. When was the last time you looked in the mirror and took complete responsibility for everything in your life? Not just the good stuff, everything. Your bank account, your relationships, your health, your career, your happiness. When was the last time you said, this is all on me? Most people can't do it. They'll take credit for their successes, but blame external forces for their failures. They'll say they're successful because they're smart and hardworking, but they're struggling because the economy is bad, their boss doesn't appreciate them, they didn't have the right opportunities, or they just weren't born lucky. This is the lie that keeps people trapped in mediocrity. This is the story that guarantees you'll stay exactly where you are for the rest of your life. Because until you accept that you are 100% responsible for your results, you'll always be waiting for something outside of yourself to change your life. Let me tell you about Sarah. 3 years ago, Sarah was 34 years old, recently divorced, living in a tiny apartment with her 2 kids, and working a dead-end job that barely covered her rent. She had $347 in her checking account and $23,000 in debt. She was convinced that life had dealt her a terrible hand. Her ex-husband was irresponsible. The divorce settlement was unfair. Her job market was terrible. She didn't have a college degree. She wasn't one of those lucky people who seem to have it all handed to them. For months, Sarah lived in this story. She complained to friends. She made lists of all the reasons why her life was difficult. She felt sorry for herself. And you know what happened? Absolutely nothing changed. Actually, things got worse. Her debt increased. Her boss started giving her fewer hours. Her apartment developed a leak that the landlord refused to fix promptly. Then one Tuesday morning, something shifted. Sarah was driving to work, listening to the same complaints running through her head for the 1,000th time, when suddenly she pulled over to the side of the road. She sat there for 10 minutes and made a decision that changed everything. She decided to stop being a victim. She didn't get a sudden inheritance. No fairy godmother appeared. The economy didn't magically improve. What changed was her response to her circumstances. That afternoon, instead of complaining about her job, she asked her supervisor what skills she could develop to qualify for better positions. Instead of focusing on what her ex-husband wasn't doing, she created a budget and started tracking every penny. Instead of making excuses about not having a degree, she researched online courses she could take in the evenings. Within 6 months, Sarah had completed 2 professional certification programs, negotiated a promotion at work, and started a small side business tutoring children in her apartment. Within a year, she had paid off half her debt and moved to a better neighborhood. Within 2 years, her side business had grown enough that she quit her job and was earning more than she'd ever made in her life. Today, Sarah owns a successful tutoring company with 12 employees. She's debt-free, owns her home, and has a 6-month emergency fund in the bank. People look at her transformation and say she got so lucky, everything just worked out for her. But here's what they don't see. They don't see the hundreds of small choices Sarah made every single day. They don't see her waking up at 5 a.m. to study before her kids got up. They don't see her saying no to social events so she could save money and work on her business. They don't see her making phone calls to potential clients instead of watching television. They don't see the rejection, the setbacks, the moments when she wanted to quit. What they call luck was actually the compound effect of better choices made consistently over time. Sarah didn't become lucky, she became prepared. And when opportunities appeared, she was ready to seize them. This is the truth about luck that most people refuse to accept. Lucky people make different choices than unlucky people. Every single day you make hundreds of decisions. You decide what time to wake up, what to eat for breakfast, whether to check your phone or read something valuable, whether to complain about your problems or take action to solve them, whether to spend money or save it, whether to learn something new or consume entertainment. These choices seem insignificant in a moment, but they compound exponentially over time. The person who reads 10 pages of a valuable book every day will finish 15 books in a year, while the average person reads less than 1. That's 15 opportunities to learn something that could change their life. The person who exercises for 30 minutes daily accumulates over 180 hours of fitness in a year, while others accumulate hours of physical decline. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this.
What choices are you making right now that are creating your future? Not the future you hope for, or the future you think you deserve, but the future that your current daily choices are actually creating. If you continue making the exact same choices you're making today for the next 5 years, where will you be? Will you be healthier or less healthy? Will you be wealthier or poorer? Will you have better relationships or worse ones? Will you have more skills or the same skills you have right now? Most people avoid this question because they know the answer and it terrifies them. Their current choices are creating a future they don't want. But instead of changing their choices, they hope that somehow magically their results will change. They hope they'll get lucky. But luck isn't magic. Luck is preparation meeting opportunity. Luck is being ready when the moment comes. Luck is having the skills, knowledge, and resources to recognize and act on opportunities that others miss. The luckiest people in the world understand this. They don't wait for good things to happen to them. They systematically prepare themselves for success. They study their field until they know more than their competition. They develop their skills until they're indispensable. They build relationships before they need them. They save money before they need it. They take care of their health before they lose it. When opportunity knocks, they're not scrambling to get ready. They've been ready for years. What looks like sudden luck to everyone else is actually the predictable result of consistent preparation. You want to know the difference between lucky and unlucky people? Lucky people take responsibility for creating opportunities. Unlucky people wait for opportunities to find them. Lucky people see problems as chances to add value and get paid for solutions. Unlucky people see problems as evidence that life is unfair. Lucky people invest in themselves constantly. Unlucky people spend money they don't have on things they don't need to impress people they don't like. The most powerful shift you can make in your life is to stop waiting for your circumstances to change and start changing yourself. Stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, how can I use this to grow stronger? Stop saying I can't because, and start saying I'll find a way to, because here's what I know for certain. If luck is really about preparation, meeting opportunity, then becoming lucky is completely within your control. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how prepared you are when it happens. You can't control the opportunities that come your way, but you can control whether you're ready to seize them. The question isn't whether these principles work. The question is whether you're willing to work them. Are you ready to take complete responsibility for your results? Are you ready to make the daily choices that create the compound effect of success? Are you ready to prepare yourself for the opportunities that are coming your way? Because if you are, then everything changes. When you combine personal responsibility with consistent daily growth, you don't just get lucky occasionally. You create a life where good things happen to you regularly. You become the person who others look at and think, they have all the luck. But you'll know the truth. You'll know that what they call luck, you call preparation. What they call coincidence, you call the natural result of making better choices every single day. Your transformation begins the moment you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being the creator of your results. The person you become will determine the life you live. And becoming the person you need to be, that's not a matter of luck. That's a matter of choice, commitment, and consistent daily growth. Success follows the same laws as farming. You can't plant corn in the morning and expect to harvest it by evening. You can't ignore your crops for months and then expect a miracle harvest. Yet most people approach their lives exactly this way. They want immediate results for minimal effort, and when it doesn't happen, they conclude they're not lucky enough. Raise your hand if you've ever started something with great enthusiasm, only to quit within a few weeks because you didn't see fast results. Keep those hands up. Most of you, this is why most people never achieve what they truly want. They don't understand the seasons of growth. In farming, there's planting season, growing season, harvest season, and rest season. Each one is crucial. Skip any season and you fail. Try to rush any season and you fail. Success in life operates exactly the same way, but our instant gratification culture has convinced people they can somehow bypass these natural laws. You plant when you invest time in learning new skills, building relationships, and developing good habits. You cultivate when you consistently practice those skills, nurture those relationships, and maintain those habits, even when you don't see immediate results. You harvest when opportunities arise, and you're prepared to seize them. You rest when you reflect, plan, and prepare for the next cycle. Most people want to skip straight to harvest. They see someone successful and think they got lucky, they had an overnight breakthrough. But what they don't see are the years of planting and cultivating. They don't see the invisible seasons of preparation that made the visible success possible. Take Marcus, a software developer who everyone thinks got lucky when his app went viral and made him a millionaire. What they don't see is that Marcus spent 3 years learning programming in his spare time while working a job he hated. They don't see him coding until 2 a.m. every night for 18 months building and rebuilding his app. They don't see the 47 rejection emails from investors. They don't see the countless hours studying user experience and marketing. When his app finally succeeded, people said he was an overnight sensation. Marcus laughs and says it was the longest night of my life. This is the compound effect in action. Small, consistent actions, repeated over time, create results that seem impossible to people who only see the final outcome. The power isn't in the individual actions, it's in the compounding. If you read just 10 pages of a valuable book every single day, you'll complete 15 books in a year. The average person reads less than 1 book per year. After 5 years, you'll have read 75 books, while the average person has read maybe 5. Who do you think will have better insights, more knowledge, and clearer strategies for success? If you exercise for just 30 minutes every day, you'll accumulate 182.5 hours of physical activity in a year. That's equivalent to more than 4 full work weeks dedicated to your health and energy. Meanwhile, the average person exercises maybe 20 hours in an entire year. If you save just $5 every day instead of spending it on coffee or snacks, years. With modest interest, that becomes over 20. Small amounts, invested consistently, become life-changing sums. How many of you track what you actually do with your time each day? Show me your hands. Almost nobody. Yet you wonder why your results don't match your intentions. You can't manage what you don't measure, and you can't improve what you don't track. Here's what separates the luckiest people from everyone else. They understand that everything in life operates on compound interest. Money compounds, knowledge compounds, relationships compound, health compounds, skills compound. But here's what most people miss. Negative things compound too. Debt compounds, laziness compounds, bad habits compound, ignorance compounds. Every single day you're moving in one direction or the other. You're either compounding success or compounding failure. There's no neutral ground. Standing still in a dynamic world is actually moving backward. The luckiest people in the world focus on 4 fundamental areas that compound into extraordinary results. First is their physical foundation. Your body is the vehicle that carries you through life. If your vehicle breaks down, nothing else matters. Yet most people treat their bodies worse than they treat their cars. They put garbage fuel in their tanks, never do maintenance, and wonder why they have no energy to pursue their dreams. Physical vitality creates mental clarity. Mental clarity creates better decisions. Better decisions create better results. It's all connected. The person who exercises regularly doesn't just have better health, they have better focus, more confidence, higher energy, and greater resilience. These advantages compound into every area of their life. Second is continuous mental development. Your mind is your most valuable asset, yet most people stop learning the day they graduate. The most successful people are relentless learners. They read constantly, study their field obsessively, and seek out mentors who can teach them what they don't know. What information are you feeding your mind every day? Are you consuming news that makes you angry and fearful, or content that makes you smarter and more capable? Are you listening to people complain about their problems, or people who solve problems? The quality of
information you consume determines the quality of thoughts you think, and the quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. Third is emotional intelligence. This might be the most important skill you never learned in school. Your ability to manage your emotions, understand other people's emotions, and create positive relationships determines your success more than your technical skills ever will. How do you respond when things don't go your way? Do you get angry, blame others, and make impulsive decisions? Or do you stay calm, analyze the situation, and find solutions? Do you hold grudges that poison your relationships, or do you forgive quickly and focus on moving forward? The emotionally intelligent person doesn't just have better relationships, they have better opportunities because people want to work with and help people they like and trust. Fourth is having something bigger than yourself to work toward. Purpose is what drives you through the difficult seasons when motivation fails. When you have a clear mission that matters more than your comfort, you'll persist through obstacles that stop other people. The person with a strong purpose doesn't need external motivation because they're driven by internal conviction. They don't quit when things get hard because their why is bigger than their obstacles. This sense of purpose transforms ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. But here's the key that most people miss. These 4 areas work together. Physical health gives you energy to learn. Learning gives you knowledge to build better relationships. Better relationships create opportunities to serve a bigger purpose. Serving a bigger purpose gives you reason to maintain your health. It's a positive cycle that compounds exponentially. Now, how many of you can honestly say you're making consistent progress in all 4 areas? Be honest. Most people focus on one area while neglecting the others, then wonder why their progress is slow. You're only as strong as your weakest foundation. The luckiest people understand something that others miss. They don't just work hard, they work systematically. They recognize patterns that create success, and they replicate those patterns consistently. While others chase shortcuts and silver bullets, they master the fundamentals. What patterns do you see in every successful person you know? They show up consistently. They invest in themselves continuously. They build relationships before they need them. They solve problems instead of complaining about them. They take calculated risk when others play it safe. They persist when others quit. These aren't personality traits you're born with. These are skills you can develop. These are patterns you can learn and implement in your own life. The moment you start thinking systematically instead of randomly, everything changes. Random effort produces random results. Systematic effort produces systematic results. Lucky people aren't lucky because they were born under a lucky star. They are lucky because they've systematically developed the habits and skills that create lucky outcomes. But systematic development requires understanding that growth happens in cycles, and each cycle has challenges and opportunities. Most people fight the cycles instead of flowing with them. They resist the difficult seasons and waste the opportune seasons. The truly successful learn to recognize these patterns and position themselves accordingly. When you understand how life cycles work, you stop being surprised by change and start preparing for it. You stop reacting to circumstances and start anticipating them. This is where real mastery begins.
Everything in life moves in predictable cycles. The economy rises and falls. Relationships go through seasons of closeness and distance. Careers have periods of growth and challenge. Opportunities appear and disappear. Industries emerge, mature, and decline. Even your personal energy and motivation follow natural rhythms. Most people are completely reactive to these cycles. When times are good, they assume they'll stay good forever and make no preparation for inevitable challenges. When times are tough, they assume they'll stay tough forever and miss the preparation needed for the next upswing. This reactive approach guarantees that you'll always be caught off guard by change. How many of you have ever been surprised by a job loss, market crash, relationship ending, or health crisis? Raise your hands. Almost everyone. But here's the thing. None of these events actually come out of nowhere. They follow predictable patterns. The luckiest people in the world study these patterns and position themselves accordingly. When the economy is booming while others are spending and celebrating, smart people are saving and preparing for the inevitable downturn. When their industry is thriving, they're developing skills that will be valuable in other industries. When relationships are smooth, they're investing in communication and connection to weather future storms. When their health is good, they're building habits that will protect them as they age. This isn't pessimism, it's strategy. The most successful people understand that preparation during good times determines your options during challenging times. They don't just ride the wave up, they prepare for the wave down. And because they're prepared when others are scrambling, they're in position to capitalize when the cycle turns positive again. Think about Warren Buffett. His famous advice is to be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. When the stock market crashes and everyone is panicking, he's buying. When the market is at record highs and everyone is euphoric, he's being cautious. This isn't luck, it's pattern recognition and strategic positioning. The same principle applies to your career. While your industry is growing, that's when you should be developing expertise that will make you indispensable during the next contraction. While your company is successful, that's when you should be building relationships and skills that will create opportunities if you need to move. While you're employed, that's when you should be creating additional income streams that could support you if your job disappears. But most people do the opposite. They get comfortable during good times and only start preparing when the crisis hits. By then, it's too late to build the skills, relationships, and resources they need. They become victims of circumstances that successful people saw coming and prepared for years in advance. Where are you right now in your career cycle? In your financial cycle? In your health cycle? In your relationship cycles? Are you using the current season to prepare for what's coming next, or are you just coasting and hoping things stay the same forever? The luckiest people also understand that their biggest obstacle isn't external circumstances, it's their own self-sabotaging behaviors. While others blame their lack of success on external factors, successful people eliminate the internal patterns that create failure. Let's talk about the 5 excuses that keep most people trapped in mediocrity. First, I don't have time. Really? You have the same 24 hours as everyone else. Elon Musk has 24 hours. Oprah has 24 hours. Your most successful competitor has 24 hours. The difference isn't the time available, it's how that time is used. When you say you don't have time, what you're really saying is that success isn't a priority for you. Because we always make time for what we consider truly important. How much time did you spend last week watching television, scrolling on your phone, or complaining about your problems? How much time did you spend learning new skills, building relationships, or working toward your goals? Your time allocation reveals your real priorities, not your stated priorities. Second excuse, I don't have money. Money is a resource, but it's not the only resource, and it's rarely the most important resource. The most valuable resources are knowledge, skills, relationships, and persistence. Most successful businesses started with very little money, but lots of creativity and effort. Most successful people built their wealth by developing valuable skills, not by starting with money. When you say you don't have money, what you're really saying is that you haven't yet learned how to create value for other people. Money is simply a reward for solving problems. The bigger the problems you can solve, the more money you can earn. Stop focusing on what you don't have and start focusing on what value you can create. Third excuse, I'm not lucky. We've already destroyed this myth. Luck is preparation meeting opportunity. If you're not getting lucky breaks, it means you're not prepared for the opportunities around you. Every single day, opportunities pass by people who aren't ready to recognize or seize them. Becoming luckier means becoming more prepared, more skilled, and more alert to possibilities. Fourth excuse, it's too late for me. Really, Colonel Sanders was 62 when he started KFC. Laura Ingalls Wilder didn't publish her first Little House book until she was 65. Grandma Moses didn't start painting until she was 78. Your age is only a limitation if you make it one. Yes, you might have fewer years ahead of you, but you also have more experience, wisdom, and resources than you had when you were younger.
Fifth excuse, I don't know the right people. Then go meet them. Networking isn't some mysterious art available only to extroverts. It's simply the process of adding value to other people's lives. Find people who are where you want to be and figure out how you can help them. Offer your skills, your time, your knowledge, or your connections. Most successful people are generous with advice and opportunities when approached by someone who's clearly committed to growth. Now, let me show you the difference between the success mindset and the mediocrity mindset. When faced with a challenge, the mediocrity mindset asks, why is this happening to me? Who can I blame? How can I avoid this responsibility? The success mindset asks, how can I use this to grow stronger? What can I learn from this? How can I turn this into an opportunity? When presented with an opportunity, the mediocrity mindset focuses on all the reasons it won't work. I've never done this before. What if I fail? I don't have enough experience. The success mindset focuses on making it work. How can I develop the skills I need? Who can teach me? What's the worst that could happen if I try? The mediocrity mindset waits for perfect conditions that never come. The success mindset starts with current conditions and improves them along the way. The mediocrity mindset seeks comfort. The success mindset seeks growth. The mediocrity mindset avoids failure. The success mindset learns from failure. Which mindset do you operate from most of the time? Be honest. When challenges appear, what's your first instinct? When opportunities arise, what's your immediate response? Your default mindset determines your default results. But here's the good news. You can change your default patterns. Every time you catch yourself making excuses, stop and ask, what would someone successful do in this situation? Every time you feel like quitting, ask, how can I persist smarter, not just harder? Every time you want to blame external circumstances, ask, what part of this is within my control? This pattern interrupt becomes automatic with practice. Soon, your first response to any situation becomes strategic instead of reactive. You start looking for opportunities instead of obstacles. You start asking better questions, which leads to better answers, which leads to better results. The luckiest people in the world also have systematic daily disciplines that create consistent results. They don't rely on motivation because motivation is unreliable. They rely on systems because systems produce predictable outcomes regardless of how they feel. Every morning they invest in their physical energy through movement, proper nutrition, and adequate sleep. They invest in their mental growth through reading, learning, or skill development. They invest in their emotional state through gratitude, visualization, or meditation. They invest in their productivity through planning and prioritizing their most important tasks. Every evening, they review what went well, what could be improved, and what they learned. They plan the next day's priorities so they can start immediately instead of wasting time deciding what to do. They practice gratitude to maintain a positive perspective even during challenging times. Every week, they assess their progress toward their goals and adjust their strategies based on results. They schedule time for relationships, learning, planning, and rest. They treat their personal development with the same seriousness that they treat their professional responsibilities. Every month, they conduct a deeper review of their activities and results. Are their current habits moving them toward their goals or away from them? What new skills do they need to develop? What relationships need more attention? What opportunities are emerging that they should prepare for? These aren't complicated systems. They're simple disciplines practiced consistently. The power isn't in the complexity, it's in the consistency. Small improvements, compounded daily, create extraordinary results over time. Most people have goals, but no systems. They know what they want, but they don't know how to get there. They rely on willpower instead of structure. Willpower depletes, but systems sustain. The luckiest people create systems that make success inevitable. Then they trust the process even when they can't see immediate results. You now know exactly what the luckiest people in the world do differently. They take complete responsibility for their results. They understand that success follows natural laws, and they work with those laws instead of against them. They prepare during good times for inevitable challenges. They eliminate self-sabotaging behaviors and replace them with success patterns. They create systematic daily disciplines that compound into extraordinary results. The question isn't whether these principles work. They've worked for thousands of successful people throughout history, and they'll work for you if you work them. The question is whether you'll actually implement what you now know. You are exactly where your choices have brought you, and if you want to be somewhere different, you must make different choices starting right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when conditions are perfect. Right now, your transformation begins with your next decision. Will you take responsibility or make excuses? Will you invest in growth or settle for comfort? Will you prepare for opportunities or wait for luck to find you? Will you eliminate self-sabotage or continue the patterns that have kept you stuck? The luckiest people in the world aren't lucky because of what happened to them. They're lucky because of what they chose to do with what happened to them. They're lucky because they made the daily choices that create lucky outcomes. They're lucky because they became the kind of person that good things happen to. Now it's your turn. Stop waiting for your circumstances to change and start changing yourself.
Stop hoping for better luck and start creating it. The principles are proven. The path is clear. The only question left is whether you'll walk it. Your lucky life begins now.